Let me plug in my microphone. Good. This is evening. Technically, it's good evening. Those who know me know that I have never any idea what day of the week or what evening, what day of the, what time of the day it is. So, um, welcome to Buy, Blueprint, and Build. We are so excited about this. I am super excited about being able to present this level of information to you, for you. I think it's imperative that we are able to, me as a practitioner, am able to deliver as much information to you as possible. And so I am super, super excited at being able to deliver what this level of content that we're going to have for you today. So welcome everyone. We are not only live on Zoom, but we are also live on Facebook. And so we'll be taking questions on Facebook as well. And so, oh, let me turn myself down on Facebook so I can hear. So, a few things. Um, let's talk about what we're going to cover today. So, we're going to do an introduction between myself and my wonderful tribe member that's on with us today. I'm going to allow her to do her own introduction, but we'll be able to do an introduction with one another and then really get into the meat and potatoes about what the Buy, Blueprint, and Build program is. I think that this is going to be a game changer, especially for people who are in very high valued markets like the Bay Area. You know, I'm a Bay Area agent, and so this is going to be a game changer. Can be used throughout the state of California. So if you are actually joining us from other areas of California, you can use this too. This is a program that can be used throughout the state. Isn't that exciting? And so a few things, and also we'll talk about some strategy around this program. Like how can it be used? What are we looking to accomplish with this program? And then also how to contact us both at the end of this, because we want to make sure that you have access to us, whether it's to actually put in a loan application or to just ask us questions. So we want to give you full access to us once this is over. But before we do that, let me do a little bit of housekeeping, okay? So everyone has access to be able to ask questions throughout this webinar. So you'll be able to, not only for those who are joining us on Facebook, you'll be able to ask questions in the chat field. Leave a comment, and we'll try to reach out and get to those questions throughout this process. And then for those who are joining us on Zoom, you can also either raise your hand. Click on your name and you'll be able to raise your hand, or you can just chat us over a question and we can try to get to as many questions as possible, but we will be opening it up to a Q&A afterwards. So with that being said, and everyone is muted. No one, we can't hear anybody, so everybody is muted. If you want to ask a voice question, we're going to ask you to hold on to that thought until we get through this entire presentation, and we'll be able to address that at that time. So really quick, I want to introduce myself. My name is Shawneequa Badger. I am the team leader of the Badger Real Estate Group. We are a real estate team with Catalyst Real Estate Professionals. I have been licensed since 2004. I worked with a little bit of everybody: buyers, investors, corporate and private sellers. I always say when I'm presenting, and I put this photo up when I'm doing a presentation, I always say, same face, different hair. So today it's same face, different hair. That still is consistent with what I always say. And one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about is being able to teach people how to create their own economy through real estate investments. That is imperative to being able to get through this whole concept of playing the real life game of Monopoly. And so with that being said, I'm going to give the reins over to my guest, make you a host, and then you are able to take over. Oh, and you got to unmute yourself.
There we go. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us
Okay,
about
I
the
can't hear
buy.
you.
You can't hear me?
I can see the content, but we can't hear you.
How about now?
Oh, there you go. That's just
You
me.
can hear
Sorry.
me?
I had you on mute. Go ahead.
Okay, you can hear me now? We're good?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, I wanted to thank everybody for joining us to the Buy, Blueprint, and Build seminar. Today we're going to talk about how to build your dream home for 0 to up to 3.5% down. This program is important and different because not only are we showing you how to build your dream home exactly the way you want it, but we also want to teach you how you can get into home ownership with actual value and equity. In a few minutes, I will show you a slide on how you can have up to 30 to 40% equity immediately into your home. My name's Valerie Williams. I'm a licensed loan officer in California. I'm experienced in portfolio lending, FHA, VA, self-employed specialist, and I'm a commercial lender. My intentions are to provide financing for all with solutions and equal fees. I believe that everybody deserves the opportunity of home ownership, and my goal is to provide those financing solutions. I'm able to lend in the entire state of California. My company's name is C2 Financial, and here's a little info about me and my contact information. Of course, you guys all have just met Shawneequa. One thing I do want to say about her is that if you haven't added her on Facebook, now's the time to do it. She has a plethora of videos, informational videos, to help you understand the home ownership process, and a lot of interesting things beyond the scope of this seminar that she could teach you through there. So add her on Facebook when we're done here. So the program, what is the Buy and Build program? Well, let's talk about how you traditionally buy. You buy traditionally with a realtor through the MLS at usually market value or above. What is market value? Well, that's usually what the listing price is, what the asking price is, right? So depending on the market right now, we all know that across at least the state of California, we're in a heightened market where we're paying 5 to 10% more every single year for the same home, where it's pricing out a lot of people. It doesn't matter if you're in SoCal or NorCal, it's still, home prices are higher than they've been in a long time, at least 10 years. So you also, when you're looking to buy a home now, you have to sacrifice your must-haves because of the price, right? So you may have to sacrifice things like your school district, your square footage, the bedrooms you want, all because the price is so high. And depending on the market and where you're at, your cost to buy your home is somewhere between $350 to $650 per square foot. I'm sure you've seen some videos about the average median home sales price in your area. Silicon Valley is crazy. I'm down here in San Diego, and our average home sales price is ranging from about $600,000 to $700,000. So for the average family, that price is too high. And not to mention the price, but the down payment is too high. Because of lending regulations, you're only allowed to put 3.5% down or 0% down on certain loan amounts. If you go above, let's say 640 for most markets, you have to put about 10% down. So 10% down is 640,000. Again, now we're too high and we're priced out. What this program does is we help you finance the purchase of vacant land. And coincidentally, most vacant land sells for less than the asking price. Unlike buying off the MLS, currently an already existing home, that home would sell at value or above. Land sales are usually, not all the time, but usually less. This buy and build program also finances the construction of your dream home. So you design the home and you buy the land in the area that you're looking for. So there's no sacrificing of your must-haves. You can expect the construction cost of a build to be around $150 per square foot versus the $350 to $650 per square foot. So to put that in a large figure, it would cost $300,000 for a 2,000 square foot home. The down payment of that would be $0 for VA and USDA buyers and 3.5% for FHA buyers. So the total cost of the land purchase plus the construction. So we want to know, what does that really look like? That's a lot of words. Let's figure out what that looks like. This program is trying to help you revolutionize the buying industry. Instead of just buying off the MLS, you're creating the product yourself. So take this land, for example. This is actual land listed for sale on the MLS right now. The cost of this land is $75,000. More than likely, you could probably get it for less, but let's just say for numbers' sake, $75,000 is what we buy it at. For a home that's already existing on a land like this, this is a current home for sale on similar land. The current list price of this home, as is, it's a 2,000 square foot home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, is $685,000. So if you were to buy this home or buy this land and build this home, you would be all in for $447,000. So your home would still be worth $685,000, but you would only owe $447,000. So you're walking in to your home that you built the way you want it with $238,000 worth of equity. I need to let these numbers sink in with you guys, because most people are looking and shopping for this $685,000 home, sacrificing, getting 401k loans, borrowing money from parents, selling things they wouldn't, maybe moving in a neighborhood they wouldn't to buy this $685,000 home. But what we're teaching you today is that you can own something similar to it for $447,000, the exact same style, and have equity in it. So let's break down the numbers. What does that look like? So remember that $447,000 that we owed, right? The cost of that land was $75,000. We're going to add the construction costs. If we build a 2,000 square foot home on that land at $150 per square foot, that total cost to build plus the land is $375,000. So how do we get to $447,000? Okay, so we want to be realistic. $375,000 sounds like a great number. I wish we could keep it at that, but there's other costs we need to talk about. So how do we get from $375,000 to $447,000? These are examples, by the way. This is not like every case won't be like this, but every case will be similar in regards to how much equity you're working with. So there's going to be a payment period during the construction of your home. We expect it to take about 9 months to construct a full residential home. There are payments during that time, but instead of paying them out of pocket, you can finance them into your loan amount. So we're adding $22,500 to this $375,000. That's how we're getting closer to that $447,000. The other thing we need to think about is permits, connecting your sewer, bringing electrical to the site, things like that. All these things are financed, right? They're not out of your pocket, but they're going to be added to the $375,000 that you see on the screen. So although it seems high, we're still looking at the equity is the important part. We're owing only 65% of our home's worth because we built it, we bought the land, we financed the construction, we financed the payments, we financed the permits, but we still owe 65% of our home's worth. I'm hoping you're following. So what are those costs? What are the costs, the actual costs? Are there closing costs? What does that look like? Well, the closing costs for the loan itself, the construction loan plus the land loan, can be paid by the lender or the seller. So if you get with the right agent and the right loan officer, we can help you finance the construction costs and the land acquisition, but also have you not pay any closing costs. The originator's fee for the loan is paid by the bank at the conclusion of the loan, so that doesn't come out of your pocket. The realtor's fee is paid by the seller of the land at the conclusion of escrow, so that doesn't come out of your pocket. The contractor is paid 100% of their profits from the construction that they build for you from the lender. The lender pays them their fee also. All for a down payment of as much as on that $477,000 loan for $15,645 down. The neat thing is, when you get into the land contract to purchase a land, you only need to make a small deposit. Sometimes $500 up to $2,000. I don't really recommend higher than that. In 60 days, you pay the remainder of the balance. So if you paid $2,000 up front, you pay $13,645 in 60 days. Right now, we happen to be in a time where a lot of people are hopefully getting tax refunds. I highly suggest, rather than taking that tax refund and spending it on material items, to invest it into home ownership. If I told you you put $15,000 into building your own home exclusively the way you want it, you designed it, you got to pick your flooring, your trim, you got to pick your paint color, you got to pick the size of your room, the size of your closet, for $15,000. And not only that, you get to walk in it in 9 months with $230,000+ of equity. Would you decide to spend that tax refund, or would you hold on to it and put it in a down payment to build your own home? To me, $15,000 for a return of $238,000 in 9 months is a no-brainer. I'm doing it all day. So if I've intrigued your interest, I'm going to talk to you about the initial steps. The first thing you want to do is get a realtor, a licensed realtor. This realtor should have the greater intent of you as their client for good. The reason I say that is because it is a lot easier, and the realtor makes more money if they go sell you a home that's already listed on the MLS. But does that put you in a better position of wealth? Maybe. But in this situation, if we can provide the land and the construction and get you in for $238,000 of equity, it's better for you to do it this way. But the realtor needs to be somebody that's a good person, that's willing to look out for your best interests first. The next thing you want to look out for is a contractor. You want to find a trusted contractor. They must be licensed and not related. You can't, hire your uncle who knows how to do electrical work and he's used to be a roofer. These people need to have a good reputation, insurance. There's no do-it-yourself work allowed. So even if you know how to do plumbing, if you're not a licensed plumber, you cannot do any construction on your own home. And the reason is this is for your own protection. And we'll get into that a little bit more later. The next thing I want to talk about in the initial steps is to decide on a payment that's comfortable for you. So the whole point of this is to get in a home that's affordable. And so we want to really build within our budget. And that's part of the pre-qualification process, is that you don't want to overextend yourself on the build and your upgrades and amenities and things. But you obviously want to live comfortable and pick those things you can because you have equity. But we want to make sure that you get an affordable monthly payment that you're comfortable with. So what is the pre-qualification process like? Well, the first thing you need to do is get in touch with the loan officer and provide your standard financial documentation. They're going to take a loan application. They're going to ask for your tax returns, pay stubs, bank statements, identification, things like that, just like a standard loan process would go. The next thing you need to do is, after you've picked your contractor, the lender will have a contractor approval pre-qualification process. This phase includes lender to contractor contracts, buyer to contractor contracts, and proving insurance and competency. The lender is not going to allow just any contractor. They are as vested in this project as you are, so they're going to make sure that your contractor is legally obliged to complete the construction of your home. So, and on top of that, the lender is going to directly handle all the paperwork for you. So you don't have to go find out what's needed, what form needs to be filled out, when, what it looks like, track your contractor down. The lender is going to contact the contractor themselves directly. You don't have to worry about talking to them at all until we're into the construction phase. Then there'll be a final pre-qualification process. The lender will calculate the cost to build based on your intentions, and at this time you'll know your exact down payment, your exact interest rate, your exact cost to build. And then everybody signs a final contract, and that is your next step to be able to go find with your realtor and go write a land contract, go find some land that you're interested in. So once you've found the land, what kind of home can you build? Well, the home must have the standards of heating, plumbing, electrical, adequate size of home for your family. They're not going to allow any popular home types now that you see on TV. So no tiny homes or off-grid type homes. You may build a manufactured prefab home as long as the foundation is permanent. So if you know manufactured home builders, we allow for those too. The construction loan will also finance energy efficient upgrades such as solar or water filtration or energy efficient windows and toilets. So those things are tax write-offs. So if you decide to add that to your build, we'll finance those as well. My favorite part is they allow luxury items. So we can allow you to or finance the construction of a pool, gated driveway, stamped concrete, landscaping, palm trees, you name it. I mean, luxury items are allowed to make your home really at its best. The only thing that we don't allow is 2-unit properties or duplexes, fourplexes, things like that. We're not allowed to add a granny flat or a rental income. They want single family residences only. So what are just general qualifications for you to just get an idea of like, hey, maybe I am qualified? Well, here's the list. You must have a 620 credit score. I personally, so I'm a lender, of course, right? So I personally help people get their scores up. I'm very talented in how to increase your credit score. 620 is the minimum. The higher your score, the better your interest rate will be, and even the less closing costs that will be charged. So if we can get you even above a 620 and it's easy and affordable, then that's something that we would talk about in the pre-qualification phase. You have to occupy the home. You cannot buy and just turn and sell it after it's built. They will make you sign an agreement that says that you will make at least 6 payments. And 6 payments actually turns out to at least 8 months of after it's completely built. So you're at least in it for 2 years. It also has to be a 1-unit. We just talked about that it's a single family residence. It can't be like a apartment and a shared wall or anything like that. It has to be just one home for one family. The other thing we need to take note of is that we're not allowed to finance anyone that's had any foreclosures or short sales in the last 2 to 3 years. And it's 2 to 3 because 2 years for a VA buyer and 3 years for an FHA buyer. So if you're lucky enough to get a VA loan, because that's probably the best loan that's out there, if you can get a VA loan, it's only 2 years out of foreclosure for you, and it's zero down. So after the loan is closed, right? We've selected the land, we've selected the contractor, we've pre-qualified, and we know exactly what our payment's going to look like once the home's built. We know our budget and what phases are during the construction and how much the construction is going to cost. We close the loan and we start the construction phase. At this point, the realtor is paid, your realtor that has helped you find the land, the loan officer's paid, then the seller's paid. So everybody's kind of done outside of just helping you manage and get through it. During the construction phase, the lender has a restriction on how long it can take to build. And this is why it's important to have a good contractor. It must be absolutely 100% finished and completed and permitted and done within 12 months. So if we only finance 9 months of payments because the contractor said it'll take 9 months, we have those remaining months that we're going to be making a payment. So we want to make sure if the contractor says 9 months, he's good enough to close in 9 months. So I don't want you guys to have to make 2 payments. If you're having rent, if you have to pay rent until this house closes, we want to make sure that we time it correctly. However, the maximum amount of months the construction should take is 12. The contractor gets up to 5 draws by line item during the construction, and it's facilitated through the funds manager and escrow. So during the pre-qualification phase, the contractor will give the lender a process, a flow of how the construction will take place. And based on the completion of that project, the contractor can request the funds to help him finance the rest of the build. And it's not sent to you, it's sent to escrow, and escrow cuts the check directly to the contractor. So here's a catchy part. During the construction phase, your interest rate is somewhere between 6 and 8%. And the reason for that is it's risk-based, right? So the house isn't worth $685,000 until it's built. If it's just land and a slab, well, now the lender owes $447,000 on it, and it's not worth that. So what they do is they increase the interest rate for risk-based purposes. But like I said earlier, we can finance those payments into the total sum of the loan that we owe, so that we're not making 2 payments on maybe we own something now or we're renting. We're just making that one that we're living in. And then when this house is constructed, then we start making these payments. Of course, you can make the payments if you want to. So if you're living with your family or friends for free and you don't want to increase your loan amount, you can make these monthly payments. You don't have to roll them in. So essentially, you're not making a payment during the construction phase. It's all already taken care of through the loan. Once the construction is 100% complete, the loan resets back at its fixed interest rate that you were provided at the beginning of the process. So for example, if you have over a 700 credit score, you're looking somewhere around 3.875 for an FHA loan. You don't requalify. Once the house is done, the contractor tells the bank, hey, we're finished. The bank will come and check, verify, you're able to move in. That day, the loan will reset back at 3.875, and you'll start making regular monthly payments. There's no requalifying. So if a job change, a job loss, we don't ask about it. We just give you the keys and you start moving in. So some little things I wanted to bring up to you guys to look out for. During the construction, it should take about 9 months. We talked about that. 2 of those months are just for permitting. Depending on the county you live in, permits can be harder or easier to attain. But one special thing about what I offer as a loan officer is that I add to the table a company that helps escalate and get permits for you. So it's not just the contractor having to take it into the county all the time and fill out paperwork. I offer a company that will help you escalate it and get it moving faster. And then the construction itself should take on average about 7 months. So when you're meeting with contractors and talking to them, you have this information to go off of so you know what's normal. It's important, and I really want to emphasize that you don't pay your contractor for any permits during the pre-approval phase. The contractor must front that money themselves, and as soon as we close our loan in 60 days, the contractor will get immediately reimbursed. It doesn't come out of one of the 5 draws. So just keep that in mind, and that's why your contractor also needs to be good at what they do, because they need to have the reserves and the finances to be able to pay that permitting. Permits can range, but I'd say just for blueprinting, a home is somewhere between $3,000 and $7,000. So if they're fronting that, they need to be able to have, live and do other projects. So that's quite a bit of money for them to front for you. So they need to be able to have those reserves themselves. Again, all contracts, paperwork, and qualifying forms will be handled by the lender. You don't need to stress over how to and where to get any of that. We take care of that directly for you. The closing of the loan, so from when you write the land contract and we start escrow, should take at minimum 45 to 60 days. So normal process is 30. This is a little longer because we do a little more in depth with calculation of numbers and figures and the build out. So please, when you're talking with your realtor, make sure that the land contracts are for 60 days or less. So if any of you are intrigued, if you get it, it makes sense, you can write this website down and you can apply online today or, you know, in a few coming days. I know Shawneequa is going to send out an email to everybody that attended the webinar with a link to this website so you can go apply to get the process started. You could also, those of you on Facebook, of course, you can DM us. You can email any of Shawneequa or I. You can call us. Our phone numbers are out there. Email is fine, and we'll be able to help you. But the cool thing is, I wanted to let you guys know that Shawneequa really specializes in Northern California. I am in Southern California. For those of you in Central, you can contact either one of us and we'll connect you with the right people. I can do, as far as lending goes, the entire state. So if you're anywhere, even though that we're not face-to-face, we can video or we can do everything virtually. A lot of things are uploaded and through email anyways, so we can do that. But one last thing I wanted to offer is, me personally as a lender, the first 5 people that I have apply through me for the loan, apply and close, I'm going to give you a $500 Living Spaces gift card for applying the first 5 people. And you know, that's only for a limited time. So only 5 people that call and get on the line and get closed will get that $500 gift card. So Shawneequa, I think you could just take over from here if you want to ask if there's anybody with questions or anything.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Hold on one second, everybody. So, was this not amazing? This was amazing for many of you who are in the Bay Area. Some of you who are even online and you're in areas that, you know, you're trying to figure out how to do it. This is an absolute game changer for many of you, because it gives you the opportunity to actually say, hey, I could actually do this, right? And that is the one thing that for many of you, you felt like you couldn't participate in any market. I don't care what market it's been. And how many of you have driven through various places throughout the Bay Area, and you've seen all these vacant lots, and you're like, what's going on with all these vacant lots? You know, I want to know how to get in. How can I navigate through this process? How can I be a part of this process? Now we can go through all these vacant lots and figure out how you can actually go and really build something. And imagine being able to say, I built my home in the most expensive market in the Bay Area. That is powerful. That is absolutely powerful. And so our jobs as real estate practitioners, and for many of you that don't understand that Valley is not only just a lender, she's also a realtor. We are able to present you with a solution here. And that's really what makes us really, really viable when it comes to this level of conversation. because we can actually give you some movement. We're creating the door. All you have to do is walk through it. So, oh, real quick. So there are questions. Would a buyer who is currently an FHA loan qualify? If so, would they have to sell current property, or can they rent it out? So basically, if they had a loan who was a home that was already had an FHA loan on it, would they have to sell it, or could they rent it out, or what is the guideline around that?
Okay, you can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so you don't have to, you can buy another home FHA. You need to buy it needs to make sense, right? So it either needs to be a bigger or better home, or closer to work, closer to a kid's school, something like that. And as long as you didn't just recently purchase or recently refi into an FHA loan, and recent as in, the last 2 months, they understand if things change quickly and you need to buy another home or build another home utilizing an FHA loan. So you're allowed to have both at the same time. The only thing with FHA is that you have to move in within 60 days of closing outside of the construction phase. So make sure that you've lived in your current home for 60 days, and then yes, you can purchase and build with an FHA loan.
And so I had another question. Somebody asked, could you use a down payment assistance with this?
Good question. I would say my first instinct would be no, because down payment assistance is per county, and so they would have to be involved and approve everything as well. And I think the lender would like the first position and be able to control all the funds and how that flows. So I'm going to say that it's strictly for FHA only, no down payment assistance.
Yeah, I would think the same too, because this is such a specialized loan product. It probably wouldn't be the ideal candidate for down payment assistance.
Mm-hmm.
You talked a little bit about foreclosures, the time it takes between foreclosures. What about bankruptcy?
Bankruptcy is 2 years.
2 years.
So
Okay.
2 years forever.
Tina wants to know, can you do this with a conventional loan?
No. So they used to have a conventional loan program for it, but you had to put 20% down, but they've taken that off the market. And so you could still put 20% down if you have more money and you want to lower your payment. But it's going to be an FHA loan. So it's still going to have that mortgage insurance, but it'll be lower. The thing about how rates are now, conventional loans are really kind of pricing out of FHA. FHA is, although there's that monthly mortgage insurance, the rate is so much lower, and the credit to you to pay your closing costs is so much higher. If you were to get that same sort of credit in a conventional loan, the rate would be so much higher that your payment would be higher regardless of the MI, of the monthly mortgage insurance. So realistically, the FHA is still a better option.
Mm-hmm. So Charles has a question. He said, can I sell my current home after the new home is built? I can't afford 2 mortgage payments.
Yes.
Yeah, so Charles, so you may want to go over that one part where the payments for the build loan are built into the actual loan itself, and so it's kind of
so Charles would be a good candidate. Charles would be a good candidate for the part of the program that allows you to roll in the payments during the construction into the loan balance. So you're not actually making monthly payments on both homes. You're keeping your home that you have now, making those payments, and the payments that you would have made on the construction home are financed into your loan already. So essentially the lender has that pool of money that would have been your monthly payment already accounted for, and they pay themselves out of the proceeds. So you're not making that monthly payment.
Charles, does that answer your question? He's on Facebook, so he's maybe a little bit delayed.
Okay.
He'll probably give me a thumbs up or something. So does anybody else have any other questions? These are great questions.
They are.
I know I had this question the other day. Maybe you can answer it. My question was this: is what happens?
You froze.
Charles said that did answer his question. Can you see me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. So my question, I think the other day, was whether or not what happens if for some reason the build is not completed. What happens?
Okay. The contractor is liable for the completion of the home, right? So they, prior to getting into escrow, sign a contract that with the lender that says they will complete the home at X amount of dollars, no more than. And if they don't complete it, then the lender is able to go after the contractor and their insurance for the remaining funds that were lent on the home. And then we can also cancel that contract once that contractor releases it and start with a new one. So we can always keep the construction going, but the contractor themselves will be liable financially for an uncompleted work. So there'll be a clause that they have to sign that says they're liable if they walk away.
This is why it's so important, everyone, for you to have a reliable contractor. And you know, when I was talking to Valley about this, I said they can't use the struggle contractor. That's what I called it, the struggle contractor. You can't use the contractor that's going to, rob Peter to pay Paul. And so there's a certain level of due diligence that the lender is going to do with the contractor to make sure that they are reliable, they have the reserves to be able to take on these projects, and so that they're not going to be stuck with the bill at the end of the day. So that is really imperative for you to understand. Let's see. Promise has a question. Question is with the equity you have from day one, are there any restrictions on refi if you need to use it? Oh, okay, that's one question. Also, is there any other preferred contractors that you have relationships with already?
Okay, so the first question is, you aren't able to access that equity for 1 year. So once the construction is complete and the loan recast to the fixed interest rate to that lower rate, you have to wait one full 12 months in order to access that cash that's in your home if you want to refinance and pull cash out. You can streamline and lower the payment. Let's say rates miraculously drop during that time. You can refinance to just lower your rate in 6 months. As far as preferred contractors, so they're by county and city, right? So I'm out here in San Diego, so I have my preferred contractors. Legally, as agents, we have to refer up to 3 people if we're going to refer anyone at all. We can highly recommend somebody, but we have to offer 3 people. However, the lender has a list of contractors that have already completed and proved themselves worthy of this program, and they will offer that to you if you apply and take this serious. They'll give you a list of contractors that they prefer to work with.
These are great.
So if you can't find anybody, I would go with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I would totally go with them if I was going to use this program. Tell me who's already done it and who's already reliable and who already has a good relationship with the lender. I would go that route. Look, if you don't want to deal with anything that is going to create chaos in the build process, to be honest, it is going to be stressful, as any escrow is going to be stressful. That's the transparency in all of this. But you want to make sure that you have limited liability and less stress in the process by dealing with somebody that you know is going to be reliable. Let's see, one more question. So, and people, you can come with the questions. This is great. Imani has a question. It says, can you ask about the company she uses to push the permits through? How are they paid and what's the cost of that?
It depends on what the permit is itself. Their charge and their fee is based on what the permit is. If it's just for bringing electrical to the site, if it's for breaking ground and building foundation, I mean, it varies. Of course, there's a cost for that, but that can also be built into the construction phase and finance. So it's nothing out of pocket yourself.
And then she also has another question. Does this program work with factory built homes?
No. So, well, just manufactured, right?
Yeah.
So it's got to have a fixed foundation.
Let's see. And let me see if there's any other questions. These are great questions, guys. It looks like that's it. I mean, this has been awesome. Super, super awesome. So again, here it is. We have given you, so the other question is, will this webinar be accessible later? So yes, so you can go on my Facebook page. It'll be loaded there. On my personal and the business, the Badger Real Estate Group pages, it will be available there. It will be there for public viewing. So anybody will be able to jump on and get this information a little bit later. You don't have to be listening all the way live. Charles, you're welcome. He says thank you. And so I'm glad that so many of you are already texting and inboxing me saying that this is an amazing program. So here we want to create some action steps here. So you have the information. All the options for not participating in this program are now removed because you have all the resources and information necessary to create actionable steps, right? And so you have access to myself, you have access to Valley. We're going to send out contact information to everyone who logged on and actually physically filled out the Eventbrite registration. We'll be following up, either myself, perhaps Valley will do some follow-up too, depending on what the nature of the questions are. Members of the Badger Real Estate team will be following up with many of you to make sure that all of your questions are going to be answered. I think all three of my team members are logged on, and they're texting me and inboxing me, and they can't wait. They're super excited, and so I'm excited. I'm telling you, everybody, when I get excited, because I was like, come on, we got to do this. We got to put this together. And next thing you know, we were in motion, and now we're here. And so it's very important that we give you the tools and, again, the resources to be successful, because if we don't, why are we in business? I mean, we're here to help you. We're here as a point of creating solutions to what most people would perceive as a problem. So now we're able to navigate around that. And so it's great because we'll be reaching out to people who hold pieces of properties, vacant land in various counties throughout the Bay Area and probably in San Joaquin County too. And we'll just be really reaching out to them saying, hey, are you interested in selling your property? And so we'll have some off-market property opportunities for you to participate in, which is really where it's at. Oh, one more question. So my question is this. So I remember you saying that we need to be very aware of the land already being connected to city resources.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be. It can be a completely rural property, but it'll be cost effective if the plumbing, the electrical, and the water is already at the site. So usually cities in the city, they'll have it already at the site. But kind of like farther out rural areas with more land, more acreage, you're going to look at probably a little higher cost of bringing those utilities to your property.
Yeah. Well, the Glovers said they're in, so yay, Glovers! Woohoo! The Glovers said that they're totally in. I just met them on Saturday. We had our first buyer's consultation on Saturday, and they're here, so they're ready to rock and roll. So that's exciting too. Again, any other questions? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. I'm gonna go and run and go actually eat dinner and do homework stuff with my daughter. Again, thank you so much, Valley, for being here with us. And we're gonna do this again, but don't wait. Don't wait.
I do want to say something. I do want to say something. I feel like everybody on this seminar, on this webinar, you guys deserve this opportunity of home ownership. We all do. So here's the tools. This is the solution for you. Take action. Take action on it. And I'll leave it at that.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
I think you froze.
I found a home that is burnt up. I found a home that is burned up is pretty much a tear down and rebuild. The value is in the land. Can this be used through that program that's being offered with a piece of property that has something that's burnt down on it?
It would have to be case by case because it depends on how burnt down it is. If the walls are still standing, then it's more of like a rehab loan. If the walls, which you could probably work out with the seller, if it's just the foundation, I think that they could do that as a land purchase. But if there's walls up, then I would say it would be more of like a rehab loan.
Yeah. Okay. I think, Tanasha, I think we answered your question. Okay, going once, going twice. We're gonna go and enjoy the rest of our evening. Again, thank you so much. We're gonna do this again, but again, we want to make sure that we gave you the information necessary to get information so we can get out there and mine our vibranium out there in our communities. So with that, I'm gonna wish everyone a good night. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Bye-bye. Thank you.